Julian. You can learn all the pick-up-y BS techniques till you're blue in the face, but until you really resolve the self-love issues inside, you're going to attract the same girl in a different body, and it's going to be painful every single time. You're going to keep getting the same results, and you're not going to understand why you keep attracting the same results. And at the same time, at best, your relationships will be shallow. So if you want those really deep connections, those really awesome high-level women who are creative, funny, have great personalities, have all the things you're looking for, then you got to start by doing the inner work and developing your self-love, your self-respect, your self-esteem. This is Jules Bia, mind science and dating coach with the Attractive Man team, and I'm here on a rooftop in beautiful Medellin, Colombia. In this video, I'm going to show you 3 methods that you can start implementing right now to start changing your inner world in terms of self-love, self-connection, self-esteem, knowing yourself. Once you start being able to have sex on a regular basis, you're gonna get bored of all of these shallow encounters. Believe me, you're gonna want more meaningful things. Now, whether you're gonna be in a monogamous relationship or polyamorous or whatever you wanna do, it's really important to not just attract shallow, empty relationships. And the more empty you feel, even if you're good with women, you're gonna attract the exact same kind of woman to how you're feeling inside, because we attract what we are. And these relationships, she might be hot, but I'm telling you, it's gonna be miserable, it's gonna drain you, and it's gonna keep causing drama and pain. The 64 bajillion dollar question is, how do we develop self-love? And guys, make sure you watch this video till the end, because at the end of this video, I'm gonna be giving you a gift that is powerful and transformative. It's a surprise, so make sure you watch all the way till the end, because you're gonna get so much value. You're gonna get exercises in this video that are gonna transform you in profound ways. So guys, let's talk about the shadow, okay? The shadow self is the unconscious part of our psyche that we don't want to look at. This is a big part of Jungian or Jungian, however you want to pronounce it, psychology. And it is vital, because if you ignore and run away from your shadow, from the parts of yourself you don't want to look at, you're never going to find the deep, incredible gifts that you have hidden within it. To put it simply, our shadow is the negative part of our unconscious that we are unwilling to look at or accept. It's a collection of all the things we may be guilty of, afraid of, ashamed of, angry about. And it's really not comfortable to go into this part of your psyche. It's also not that easy to really pull up the treasures. Imagine it's like a deep ocean that's unexplored, and at the bottom is untold, unspoken treasures. The guys who get what they want in life, the guys who are really powerful, know how to tap into their shadow just enough to use it to enhance their power, to enhance their understanding of themselves and others, and to move forward and use their talents to their full abilities to go out and create what they want in the world, get what they want in the world. You'll see all the guys who are at the top of their game either consciously or unconsciously do this. For me, the more I went into the dark parts of myself, the parts I was ashamed of, afraid of, guilty of, the more I processed and accepted and loved those parts of myself and discovered those parts of myself, the more complete I felt. Because in this day and age, we have this positive thinking movement, right? Or this new age hippie movement where it's like, don't look at the negativity and the darkness, right? And what does that do? That creates an aversion to something that is going to be a part of you no matter what. I read this in a book, an amazing book, The Untethered Soul. The price of freedom is pain. If you want to be free, you have to learn how to go through your pain in order to transcend it. What you want to heal, you must first feel. So when you delve into this part of yourself, you start feeling lighter, more loving, more accepting, because not only do you start accepting the shadow in yourself, you start accepting the shadow in other people and start understanding other people at a much deeper, much more profound level. And things like empathy will naturally develop. Things like emotional intelligence, which I guess is the same thing as empathy, will develop. And your ability to connect and understand people will be your secret weapon in creating anything you really want. Owning your shadow self is what makes you stand out as a man and be unique, because people feel this deeper acceptance that you have for yourself, which again makes it more easy to connect with and understand people at a deeper level. I want you to take 30 seconds right now. We're gonna go for a pause in a moment. I want you to think of something that you either hate about yourself, you want to change about yourself, or you don't want to look at, that you've been ignoring. Now, what are you experiencing in your body right now, having done that for that 30 seconds? Is it numbness? Is it heaviness of any sort? Is it maybe sadness? This is what's hiding right beneath the surface. This is what we don't want to look at. And what it does is it unconsciously runs us. You can't run away from your feelings. You can't run away from your shadow. That's literally why they call it shadow work. That's why they call it the shadow, because you can't get away from it. No matter where you go, there you are. Now, just for a moment, all I want you to do is just close your eyes with whatever came up. Deep breath in and just relax into it. And just imagine your heart opening up to it. And just sit with that. Can you just open your heart even 1% to whatever came up when you looked at what you didn't want to look at, what you've been turning away from, ignoring, denying? Notice if you felt a shift. Just accepting this stuff. That is one of the most powerful tools. It seems so simple, but when that pain comes up, or when that thing you don't want to look at comes up, it's going to generate feelings. It's going to generate thinking. And all I want you to do is just notice it. Don't try to do anything about it. I want you to just give it your full, undivided attention as best you can. There's a payoff for the repression. We believe that somehow this is protecting us, preserving us, making us feel safe, right? There's a sense of pride in there. That shame is just protecting your ego. Who would I be if I owned this part of myself? The biggest example is your sexuality. That's a part of your shadow self, wanting to have sex with lots of women. There's nothing wrong with it. It's a biological impulse that men have to spread seed. It's what keeps the species going. But if you keep that deep within yourself and you don't want to acknowledge it or look at it because you have all these negative feelings about it, you're never going to be able to own it with women and have the dating and sex life that you want, because you'll always have that shame come up and completely strangle you when it's time to make a move, to take action, to even go for it, to go and talk to her. Think about that for a second. The reason why you may have difficulties approaching the women you want, or escalating, or even having sex, is because you don't want to look at this shadow aspect of yourself. So you walk through life fragmented. Your power is all broken up into pieces, and many of those pieces are buried away. And what good is treasure buried in your backyard that you don't even know that it's there? Because that's kind of what this is like. The more you courageously look directly at this stuff, fearlessly accepting it, radically accepting, the more the light of your awareness will break up the blockages within you. Now, I'm not just talking about your sexuality. I'm talking about your anger, your aggression. These are dirty things that we've been taught as men to push away and ignore and not accept because anger is dangerous. It's rage that's dangerous. Rage is out of control. Anger is a very productive energy. Aggression is a masculine trait. It doesn't mean you're going to be aggressively ordering a cup of coffee at Starbucks. It means that you're going to use that aggression to compete, to get goals, to take action, to get ahead of the curve. That's what being a man is all about. Not the aggression part of it, but the competition, that desire to go make things happen. So if you don't have access to things like your sexuality, your aggression, again, there are fragmented parts of yourself. You are not able to access the gifts that you have. And they go way deeper than just the things I'm mentioning. You start to discover what you're really worth, what you're really made of. If you right now believe you don't have any talent, any worth, any purpose, I'm telling you, you do. I promise you, you have gifts to give this world. And for the most part, they're hidden inside of your shadow. So please take a deep dive with these 3 powerful methods to start uncovering it and integrating it. And by it, I mean the shadow. Your mess, the mess you think you created in your past, is actually the preamble to your mission in the world. For example, I went through so much intense emotional suffering. I had borderline personality and bipolar, to which I healed myself by doing my own inner work. Painstaking amounts of inner work. And I created a huge mess of so much drama, so much negativity. But now I realize that I'm grateful for that, because it helped me develop the skills to help guys like you to make a huge impact in the world. It was the sacrifice that I made to become the man to help other men. And if you look at great artists, big success stories, they all had a crazy struggle, okay? This stuff doesn't just fall in your lap, it takes work, but that's what's beautiful about it. Don't just wish for life to be easy, wish for you to be better. It's one of my favorite Jim Rohn quotes, and it's a paraphrase. Are you liking this content? Then make sure you hit that like button on this video so that the YouTube algorithm puts it out in the recommended feed and more guys get this powerful healing information. What goes around comes around, guys. Karma's a thing. What you give, you receive back. And you can't receive without giving. Hey man, I'm giving this my all. Did you hit that subscribe button yet? Make sure you subscribe to our channel so you don't miss anything. And ding, 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 that notification bell. By the way, before we move on, if you're one of those guys that doesn't know what your purpose is, I'm gonna give you a life hack right now. I've said this in other videos, and I say this to my students, especially in our inner transformation coaching program right now, Unshakable. Guys are getting crazy shifts. But if you don't know what your purpose is, I'm gonna give you a purpose right now. Your purpose is to find your highest purpose. Now you have a purpose. You're welcome. One of my clients came to me just about this purpose thing, right? He didn't know what his purpose was. And he knew it wasn't being an electrician. He knew that there was something greater out there for him. So we did a lot of processing around the shame, the guilt, the negativity, the disapproval he had about it. And not too long later, he realized that he wanted to become an engineer in robotics. And now he's in school for that. And he's absolutely ecstatic about it. He's excited about his future. He feels like he's really channeling his gift to the world through learning this. And it's going to be amazing to see what he comes out with in these decades to come. I used to have approach anxiety that was so bad, I would shake in front of the girl like a washing machine on spin cycle. And I would also talk as if I was sitting on top of that washing machine. I couldn't even put out words. And going into myself, into my shadow, inquiring of what is causing this? What causes me to be so terrified of this beautiful and frankly harmless, innocent woman that I want to talk to? And I saw that it was my fear of rejection, my fear of actually opening up and letting her in. Because the rejection itself, without her knowing me, was scary enough. But what terrified me was if I opened up, let her inside to see who I really was, and then get rejected from there, I realized I was equivocating that to death. That was the first layer. With that realization, I was able to drop a lot of it. Then the next layer under that, for my approach anxiety, was not the fear of them rejecting me, it was me rejecting myself. What was really causing me to get rejected, because I had these bullshit beliefs that I was a boring person, I had nothing to offer, why would she be interested in me when there's so many other way better men out there? Like, do you see how that tied into your self-worth and your self-esteem? Just looked at these and experienced the pain that came with those kind of heavy beliefs, those negative beliefs. I started feeling lighter and lighter because the light of my awareness started breaking them up, and I would get realizations and start to know myself deeper, to feel more solid in myself, because I understood that it didn't really matter whether they liked me or not. Not everybody is gonna like you. Right women out there are out there for me. They're just waiting for me to approach them. So I started getting lighter and more positive beliefs, which really helped me be more calm, cool, collected with the women I approached, more open, more authentic, more vulnerable. Because what I was afraid of getting stabbed in wasn't even real. They were fake beliefs that I picked up over the years of programming myself and being programmed by other people in less aware states. And we're all a victim to that, but be careful, because none of us are victims unless we choose to be. It's really important that you take responsibility for all the thoughts and beliefs you have, because at one point you did create those. And when you take responsibility for them, they're much easier to change. But if you believe life is happening to you, you feel out of control. So take responsibility for everything in your life right now that happens to you and that you believe. And you'll be able to transform it from a much more powerful state. You become the creator, not the victim. And you're in the driver's seat of life. As I said, as I looked at these deeper, heavier, fake, and very negative beliefs, they would begin to unravel, and more of my gifts would come out in the form of lighter beliefs, things that are more accurate to this objective reality. The subjectivity starts getting removed, and you see reality as it is for what it is. So you start to own whatever you have and discover whatever you have more and more. It's very powerful. And again, guys, as I owned these beliefs, as I took responsibility for them and saw them for what they are, which were false, phony, fake, just programs that I set at one time when I wasn't aware, wasn't as conscious. As I owned them, I started to notice my gift, which was communication, inspiring communication, this energy that just comes out and motivates and inspires people. And that gift served me in many of my careers, and now it's serving me creating these YouTube videos for you guys to help you, which is my deepest joy and is why I left the stock market to become a coach. These gifts helped me gain this inner confidence that I can go out and make things happen. I am not going to settle for a mediocre life. Even though I was living a pretty awesome life in the stock market, it wasn't my gift. I felt it deep inside me. There was something disturbing about staying there for the rest of my life and not going out and being really free to do what I want, which is creative stuff, which is inspiring stuff, which is teaching guys how to become the best version of themselves as I go down that journey myself. Because this journey never ends, guys. And that's the beautiful thing about it. It's really the process that's beautiful about inner growth and transformation, not the goal. You'll get the goal, and then you'll take it for granted a week later. It's the journey, falling in love with the journey and the process. That's where the hot sauce is. Now, for this first exercise, I want you to pick one of your parents, the one that you're less close with. That'll probably stir up a few feelings, me just mentioning that. Notice here. What do you feel here? Get a pen and paper, and I want you to write down the thing you hate most or dislike most about them. Here's the fun part. You are more like the parent you are further away from. In fact, the reason why you don't like these aspects of that parent so much is because you have those same traits in one way or another. So now the next part of this is to sit quietly, go into your memory as you think about that behavior or trait you hate most about in that parent. And I want you to start writing down ways in which you're similar and allow those feelings to come up. And again, shine your light on them. Accept whatever comes up as you write. And if you need to pause because it gets really intense, then pause and just welcome those feelings. Don't try to change them. Don't try to figure them out. It's really becoming familiar with these feelings. And if you do this enough, you'll actually start noticing that you start really accepting yourself in very profound and deep and new ways that you never thought were possible. It's very simple, but it's a very powerful exercise. And in fact, getting complete with your parents, healing your relationship with them, even if you think it's good, believe me, there's a lot of stuff you're not looking at. Okay, we all have it. Healing your parental relationships is the most powerful way to really transform. I discovered that when I healed my relationship with my dad, I'd be talking with him and I'd get these realizations about him. But these realizations I would get, which came from accepting him at deeper levels, understanding and loving him at deeper levels, went across the board for all people. I started noticing that these realizations, these discoveries, these understandings, these acceptances didn't just happen with him. In my interactions with every other person, when similar things came up, I would see it from that level. And it started healing how I was connecting and relating to the world around me. Because your parents are the first people who imprint you. You get subconscious imprinting on what love is like, what you believe love should be, how a healthy relationship is, because our parents are gods to us when we're little babies, when we're little kids. So we take all the examples of what is right and what is wrong by how we observe and relate with them. And for the most part, they're just passing down the unprocessed pain that their parents passed to them to us. And it just keeps going down the chain until somebody steps up and resolves it. Whatever you don't resolve, you'll pass to your children. No matter how hard you try not to do it, you will pass it to your children unconsciously. So understand that healing your relationship with your parents is so profoundly important. So guys, as well, after you do the work, after you uncover what you hate most about that parent which you're less close to, right? And you process it and you process it, you allow the feelings up, I want you to let that piece of paper sit for a day and then come back to it and do it again, and do it again, and think about other ways which you're like your mother or father, whichever one you're less close to, and keep allowing those feelings up and just owning and loving them. And watch what kind of realizations you have about yourself, about people, about the world that transform how you interact with it. By the way, you will become more aware of now these patterns that you also have from the parent you're less close to. It'll come up when you interact with women, with friends, with people in general. And now it's on you to break it up even deeper by vulnerably, authentically expressing this part of yourself. Like, my father is an apex narcissist. So I definitely have narcissistic tendencies still. I used to be a complete narcissist. No empathy, no ability to give a shit about other people. Only serving myself. I'm important. I'm going to talk only about me. And I would only talk about me and not listen to people. So I would start calling it out. I was like, hey, I talk about myself nonstop, and I really am genuinely interested in listening to you and hearing what your experience was. I was doing that to my own mother. It was all about me. I would only talk about me and my problems. I would never listen to her and care about her or understand her. And I would tell her, this is a pattern I really want to break up. This is something I really want to break up. And as I kept acknowledging that and expressing it, it broke up in deeper and deeper layers. I still have it a little bit. I mean, I love talking about myself. I guess that's what makes me a great YouTube personality in general. But at the same time, my work is to keep breaking that up, keep becoming aware of it. Because these are very deep-seated patterns. But all it takes is the awareness and moving in the right direction towards accepting, processing, and breaking it up. And again, this kind of authenticity and vulnerability gives people permission to be their authentic, vulnerable selves. So you connect deeper. It's beautiful. Own the parts of yourself that are so unsavory and unacceptable and terrifying and scary, and you give permission for other people to own that part of themselves and express it in a healthy way that heals both of you, right? This stuff is contagious, infectious, in a good way. Now, I want to be a little vulnerable with you guys and open myself up. I'm actually bisexual. I'm attracted to both men and women. And from a young age, from 10 years old, I knew this. In fact, one of my first experiences was with another boy in my class. And 2 years before that, I had a sexual experience with a girl. I know, I'm a very early bloomer, I guess, if that's the term. So it was really confusing. And I developed a lot of shame over the 11 years that I was in the closet about it. When I started doing deeper work and accepting this part of myself at a deeper level, I started seeing the programs that I created that were causing me to be so needy with women. And the example that I'll give you is that I created a program in high school that unless I have sex with tons of women, I'm gay. I hated that idea. I believed that no woman would ever love me or accept me because I do ultimately prefer women over men, right? But I'm still attracted to both. And it was terrifying. So I had to go out and I had to sleep with as many women as possible in high school, which eventually led to mental emotional destruction by the time I was in my late teens and early 20s. That's why I was so depressed. I had so many mental and emotional problems. I created them though. I created them. I took responsibility. So when I started to look into this part of me that needed, I still believed that even after I was out of the closet, even after I was doing work, I had this deep need for women's validation to prove that I wasn't gay. Now that program doesn't even make sense after you're out of the closet. It doesn't even make sense a decade later, but these programs get stored. And the more I looked at that, the more I accepted it, the more I brought it up within myself, I began to love and accept myself at a deeper level. I had deeper self-respect. And guys, the more you love yourself, the more self-respect that you have, the more people will love you and respect you because you will be treated exactly how you believe you deserve to be treated. So if you don't respect yourself, you're not going to believe you deserve respect from others. How can you expect others to respect you or love you or accept you if you don't even respect or love or accept yourself? This work is so vital. You know, some questions I would ask myself were, what if I was only attracted to men? What if my entire attraction to women was a program to look away from possibly being fully gay? That is something I was terrified to look at because if that was true, I would lose my attraction for women. It was just a facade in my mind. And the very fact that I was scared of losing the attraction to women meant that I, genuinely was attracted to women. But it's confusing being bisexual. And just asking that question brought up so much shame and so much fear. And I kept asking it, and more of it came up and out. And I released more of it, and I accepted and loved more of it. And then I would get these realizations about myself, about how much love I have inside, about where love really comes from. Because we know intellectually approval comes from within, but you have to experience it firsthand from doing this work. We grow and change through experience. That's why it's so important to do inner work, to experience that which you are, and especially that which you are not. Guys, if you like this content, make sure you hit that big red subscribe button, okay? Make sure you like this video, so the YouTube algorithm picks it up and spreads it to other guys who need to hear this information. And make sure you hit the notification bell so that you don't miss any more of my videos or the rest of the team's videos, because we have new, interesting, and profound content that's going to be constantly coming. So make sure you do me a favor and you hit that big red subscribe button. And guys, make sure you follow me on Instagram. Stay in touch with me. If you have questions about this work, I'm happy to help you. This kind of inner transformational work is my favorite topic. I love it even more than teaching guys how to get good with women, and I love teaching that a lot. But I combine these two things, and when I combine them together, it's a whole different level of coaching and inner transformation. You don't just get the shallow stuff, the technique-y stuff. You actually change from within so that your outer world corresponds to that inner transformation that you have. And believe me, that's exactly how it happens. Method number 2 goes like this, and it's very simple. I want you to draw a picture of your shadow self and your light self, or your love self, or your dark self and your light self. And it's really important that you do not focus on whether you're a good artist or a drawer or not. I don't care if it's stick figures. I want you to use colors, pencil crayons, right? Because they express emotions. And I want you to take time and really feel as you draw these pictures of yourself. Now, the subconscious mind works in pictures. So one picture you draw of yourself is worth several therapy sessions, and you'll feel a catharsis. This is art therapy if you've heard of it. And it's really simple. Now, you drew a picture of your dark self and your light self, right? Now draw a picture of your mother's dark side and your mother's light side. your father's dark side and your father's light side. And by the way, it doesn't matter if your parents are alive or not. You can still do the work on them to heal yourself, okay? Doesn't matter if you've talked to them or not in years. It's all stuff that resides within your subconscious mind. Additional pictures to draw is your greedy self, your angry self, your jealous self, your ashamed self, your fearful self. Draw as many versions of yourself as you can. Yourself that's terrified of women, yourself that believes that you can't be rich, because this really brings the deep-rooted stuff up. And as these feelings come up, you just open your heart and accept them. Let them pass through you. Now, some of them may feel stuck, these feelings, but if you just open up and you accept it, the energy behind it will dissipate and it will break apart and release. This next method, it's very simple. Now remember, I want to stress, do not worry if you're good at art or not. I am a terrible visual artist. It's not about the quality of the drawing. It's the intention behind it. It's the feelings that come up as you do this work. So it's very important. Don't judge the drawing. Let your mind draw it. Let whatever comes up to draw your greedy self come out through that pen or pencil crayon or whatever you choose. This will give you more awareness of your internal struggles, your internal conflicts. It brings the darkness to the light so that you can accept that part of you more. You can't transform anything that you resist or ignore or deny. So this forces you to be aware of and accept the many shadow aspects of yourself and your parents and anybody. You could use it for other family members or friends or exes, whatever. Students that have been doing this inner work in our Emotional Mastery Mentorship program have been discovering their gifts, releasing their shame, feeling lighter and happier, having realization. We've got a student right now who has the worst insomnia I think I've ever seen. And doing this work, he would wake up several times throughout the night in intense anxiety. And as he's doing the work, he's starting to sleep deeper and better, feel better about himself, have more energy. I mean, he was struggling with this for 40 years and tried so many things. Guys, this inner work is the secret to really true lasting change. And we're teaching it in our Emotional Mastery Mentorship program, Unshakable. So if this interests you, if you want to go deep and do this kind of work, book a call in the link below with my team to see if it's the right time for you and if you're the right fit. Because we only take the guys who are going to do the work and who are ready to do the changes that they need to do to become the men they know they are and create the lives they've always wanted. Method number 3 is to get over our shame, get over our guilt, and forgive ourselves. To see that the stuff we've done in our past is not unforgivable, it's not awful, and that everybody makes mistakes. Everybody does unsavory things. We came here on this planet to get messy, to make mistakes, to learn. If you had a perfect life that never went wrong and you never did anything wrong, you would be so shallow and so sheltered. Give thanks to your mistakes and shortcomings, for they make you who you are today. For they make you wise and give you depth and help you discover your gifts. So this next method is really simple. I want you to find a safe group of people, like a men's group. You can find men's groups on the internet. They're in most cities now. It's a big movement of masculinity where you are in a circle every week with men who are there to support you in a tribal manner, to help lift you up, that you can be vulnerable with. Or you could do this with your group of friends. I want you to start telling your deepest, darkest secrets, the things you're most ashamed of, to these people. Expose that which you're terrified of. Because what you're ashamed of, if you never tell another soul, you get to keep it for the rest of your life. And shame is heavy. Shame keeps the things we want away from us. So this is very simple. I had a student who I gave this exercise to, and he had a massive breakthrough. He had such a tremendous breakthrough. He called me, he's like, I'm crying, I'm shaking. All these terrible emotions came up. And I said, I want you to turn your phone off tonight and I want you to just love and accept whatever comes up. The guy is a completely different person just from that one exercise. I'm kind of extreme. I used to go on the street And I used to tell random people my deepest, darkest secrets, and most of them would accept me. Most of them would respect me for having the courage to do that. And again, you start seeing that your suffering, your mistakes are not that special. Everybody has secrets. And think about it. Why are you so close with some friends? Because they know the most about you. They know maybe not all your secrets, but you've exposed more of your inner self to them. And that's why you're close. That's why you have that intimacy. So guys, I hope that this video inspired you. To recap, you got your pen and paper exercise where you think about the parent you're less close to, the thing you despise in them the most. And then you search within yourself and start writing down all the ways that you're exactly doing the behavior you hate the most about them, or the trait or whatever, and allowing the feelings up. Number 2 was the art therapy, drawing the many different versions of yourself, your light self, your dark self, your greedy self, your selfish self, doing the same with your parents, your needy mother, your selfish mother, right? Your generous mother. Do the positive ones too. Your angry father, whatever it is. And then the third one, the shame exercise of exposing the things you're most ashamed of. Guys, I know that sounds hard and scary, but I promise you, if you do it, you will have such deep healing and acceptance. Because when you see somebody else accept something that you thought was so unspeakable, so terrible, you automatically start integrating that part of your shadow, remember shadow work, and accepting that part of yourself, and you get these amazing gifts. You start to be able to go out, you have more of your power, more of your creativity, and your gifts that you didn't even know you had, you didn't even know were possible, start coming out, and it's a blessing. The more and more you grow like this. You see, everybody's cheering for me. So guys, if you like this content, make sure you hit that big red subscribe button, okay? Right there, hit that subscribe button, ding the notification bell, put it to all notifications, like and share this video, and make sure you follow me on Instagram. If you have questions about any of this work, guys, message me. I love talking about this stuff, and I'm here to help. And if you're interested in our inner transformational program, Unshakable, then make sure you book a call in the link below, and we're gonna see if you're ready to do it. So what do you think about shadow work? What exercise are you most excited about and most terrified of? Put it in the comments below. And also in the comments below, make a commitment to trying these exercises and moving towards that inner change to transform your life. Since you've stayed till the end, I have a wonderful surprise for you. I've recorded a guided self-esteem releasing meditation that is yours to download for free, and it's in the link below. So make sure you book your call, you get your free self-esteem releasing meditation, and you go out and you blast off. This is Jules Bia with the Attractive Man team. Much love, many blessings, and I'll see you in the next video.